Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of my series on my forever world, which will eventually become a SMP, although only for my friends. The project that we're currently doing today is working on a kaiju. Also, he here's my guess. I count von Zeppelin. And since we're working on a kaiju, I was thinking, since it took a while last episode, we need some sort of accelerant. Which, for kaiju, that typically means radiation. So, let me see. Redstone. Also need to drop off all this wood. I'll organize it later. Grab some of this and this. The reason I'm using redstone is because, well, as revealed from Education Edition, redstone is actually radioactive. So this dragon skeleton was actually a kaiju. Yeah, little lore drop. Why is there so many cows? This is a jungle, not a ranch. The kaiju that I'm currently working on is inspired by Monster X and actually some fan art of kaiju like Monster X. One in particular was the one by EV Artworks on Instagram. I really like his design for King Ghidorah. And Monster X is one of the stages of King Ghidorah. I'll just leave that redstone there and go grab some rockets. And who knows? After grabbing the rockets, it might be fully grown. Let's see how my kaiju is going. Ah, looks like she might be done. Also, while I'm thinking about it, little update. Sorry, throat's a little bit sore. I have decided to call this kaiju Countess Ghidorah. As you can see, I learned a little bit of editing and have completely finished this kaiju. And as you know, I've been working on this kaiju for just a little bit since the last episode was zombie. Stop. Anyway, the last episode was about a week ago, I think. And you can see why. Ginormous build. But since last episode, there were more of Monster X's species announced in the Godzilla comics. So, maybe my theory about Monster X having hands because he was mutated by the Exilians might be wrong, might still be true. Well, I'll have to see once the comic comes out. But as you can see, I went for a more fin pattern for the end of the limbs, taking inspiration from the Destroyer reboot version. Because presumably that is the kind of limb that the pupil form of King Ghidorah had. Let me fly up and show you what the head looks like. As you can see, very bony, and I did incorporate the multiple skulls. I even made the whole mouth. And of course I had to do the split tail, because that was the original reference. Now that I'm done with that, let's see what else we can do. Might chop down some trees in this area while telling you about a movie that I recently watched. I recently watched the movie The Princess Bride, which, despite it sounding like a movie for girls, it's actually good for everybody. A nice classic movie. And for a while I had seen things about Indigo Montoya and didn't realize that was from that movie. And from what I've seen about it, the movie's even better because minor spoilers for The Princess Bride, actually maybe major. So if you're wanting to watch the movie, go do that before finishing this episode. Anyway, whenever Indigo Montoya says, "Hello, my name is Indigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." I was expecting a sword fight, but what I received was even better. It literally made me laugh. The guy who killed his father just took off running. I guess he knew a good swordsman whenever he saw one. And also, noticed something that I don't know if anyone else has noticed. During this scene where the large rodent is set on fire, you can see for a frame or two one of the cast members of the movie, presumably a pyrotechnic, but could also be a guy with a fire extinguisher to put out the guy in the rat costume. But if you look to the right, you can see him. And funnily enough, whenever I looked that up, the entire cast were wearing blue jeans. I didn't realize that they had a dress code. Also, just got Minecraft Java Edition for my computer, so I'll be playing on that soon. Probably will be recording some today, actually. This looks like a good one to chop down. That sounds like a baby. Huh, zombie jockey. Those are fairly rare. Speaking of jockeys, is it crazy that I have never seen a chicken jockey in Minecraft? I've seen them in videos, but I have not seen them in person. Anyway, back to the movies. There's something that's just so charming about the older movies. Especially whenever they use practical effects. Like, the giant in that movie was actually a giant. Andre the Giant, to be exact. One of the biggest guys in recent times. I got him fighting. Forgot that pressing the A button does that. Whoops. Did I tell you what I was planning with this out here? I'm planning on making the red fog into a sort of maze, possibly a labyrinth. But anyway, it's going to be hard to get into. And that's one of the reasons why there isn't that much like generational stuff on this island, because it is extremely hard to get into, and because of that there was only the ruins from before the fog, stuff from explorers after the fog, and then my stuff. It's still really cool how I made this giant building. Since the tower reminded me of Lord of the Rings, because I did use Sauron's tower as inspiration, I've been reading through it recently for the first time, currently on the 3rd book. And you know what I think would be a really cool Minecraft mod? A mod that adds like some of the creatures of Lord of the Rings into Minecraft. Like I would like to ride on one of those flying things that the Ninja ride on. I do not remember what they're called, but the bird thingies. The reason I'm going down into the mines now is while building my giant kaiju, I did make some work down here. Just gotta weave in, go through here, take the second turn on the left because the first one is a pit. Go through here, and you arrive at my skeleton grinder. Because of the beacon, I can just one-shot him with my sword. So I get all the stuff. This down here has turned into a real maze. Very easy to get lost down here. Kinda like our IRL mine shafts. Something that I've been thinking about is if it might be better to have this world as my forever world and then move the serveriness of it to a modded Java world. So that way I can do some of the role-playing that I want to do even better. Because, I mean, the red fog being those pretty cool, add some mystical element. But imagine what it would be like with, like, actual dragons living about. And also having the create mod for the gears and stuff. Speaking of create, I am planning on doing a create aeronautics series. So stay tuned for that. I don't remember if I fully went over the plan with this area for you. I'm planning on turning this area into a ruined city with, of course, Kaiju. And each like area is going to have its own different monster. I think just kind of rampaging through and fighting each other. And so far, the areas I'm thinking of are a docks area right about here. Over there, we have the main metropolitan area, and then back by the tall tower that you can faintly see, have that be like business area, and that over there be a greenhouse. And might turn that tree into some sort of Biolante-like thing. And then I'm not too sure what I'll do over there. Basically, the idea is to have it all ruined and grown over. Like, basically all of the cities that you see in the Monsterverse. Because of the radiation. Hyper-growing the plants, essentially. Speaking of Godzilla, I recently watched the G-Fest, I think it was, short films. You know, with Gigan, Rex, and Gigan Miles, and Megalon. And it turns out that the Godzilla that one is Godzilla Jr. Which is kind of special to me because one of the very first ones that I watched was Godzilla vs. Destroyer. So, cool little callback for me. Mormon. Let's see, where's a nice tree? Since we've been gathering just jungle wood, might as well grab some other woods. Like some birch. I don't really get all the birch shape. I mean, a wood's a wood. Might not be the best in all builds, but it has some places. Like, did you see that Minecraft post a while back with the back rooms? That was some nice use of birch. But the best wood outright, I think we all know. It's some nice spruce. Yes, that was a Scampy reference. He was actually one of the ones that inspired me to get into YouTube. For a second there, I thought that this was bugged and inside the ground. Although it's probably very rare to have two of them in a hole that only they are in the hole. You know, I actually haven't explored this cave yet. Although it's more of a crater. One of my eventual goals for this series maybe a future series if I plan on changing the SMP to be on Java Edition, and the future series be just me working in my forever world, because I still want to keep this world and play on it. Anyway, a future goal is to get every kind of ore, which does actually only leave two, but they're the two hardest. Deep Slate Coal and Deep Slate Emerald. Because I already got Stone Diamond inside my vault. Which I actually haven't shown you yet for the sake of security. Once I learn all my editing in a pretty good manner, I will. But for the present, I won't. Because I'm still learning. You know, this is a really beautiful Minecraft world that a lot of people have played on for a little bit, but haven't stayed on. Because, as I said earlier, although you might not have been able to hear me because of the nether portal, this is the survival island default start on Bedrock Edition. And it is a really beautiful world. Like, only minorly changed up the terrain. Well, except for this part. This part I changed a lot, but I mean, it had to accommodate the runway. You always need a nice runway. But other than that, this generally follows the shape of the island. I've just enhanced it a little bit. Like this Nautilus was in a natural cove. That's why I decided to build it here. And overlooking that cove was a nice spot. Sorry, was I a bit echoey then? Whoa, there she blows. Still really like this dragon head build I did. But I've had a bit of an idea to improve it that I haven't got to. Let me just stash all this. I'll just throw this in temporarily. Let me see. Do I have any dripstone spike in my assorted stone? No. Alright. Well, I can't do what I was planning on doing. And it's just about time. So, I thank you all for watching this video. And for bearing my slightly hoarse voice. Thank you all for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, because I have a bit of a idea for a subscribe challenge that I'm going to do. And it'll be from the start of the channel, so you won't be missing out. But first I'm gonna have to figure out how to post videos on Instagram. Well, I'll get whenever I get it. That's all for now, I guess. Thank you all for watching. Bye.